Unser Vaterland die Bewegung, die beides einmal retten muss.
As we peel back the layers of history, we reveal hidden truths that have lurked in the shadows of our shared past. This video exemplifies secrets from World War II, exposing grim realities and clandestine operations that redefined the world's geopolitical landscape. Number 1. Operation Paperclip and the repurposing of Nazi scientists. In the aftermath of World War II, the focus of the global superpowers shifted to a new frontier, the Cold War. Technological supremacy was the new battleground, and both the United States and the Soviet Union were desperate to acquire any advantage they could. In a move that could be classified as pragmatism or desperation, the U.S. initiated Operation Paperclip, a secret program designed to recruit and repurpose the skills of German scientists, many of whom had previously worked for the Nazis. The name Operation Paperclip was derived from the paperclips attached to the personnel files of the recruited scientists. One of the most notable recruits was Wernher von Braun, the brain behind the V-2 rocket, the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile. After the war, von Braun and his team were instrumental in launching the U.S. space program, culminating in the historic Apollo moon landing in 1969. What makes Operation Paperclip particularly controversial is the murky ethical territory it treads. Many of the scientists were members of the Nazi Party, some held senior posts, and a few were even accused of war crimes. By shielding these scientists from prosecution and offering them new lives in America, the U.S. government prioritized national interest over moral justice. It was a classic illustration of the realpolitik that dominated the era. At the same time, Operation Paperclip also raises questions about the role of science during war. To what extent can scientific knowledge be separated from the context in which it was developed? Can the rockets that rained death on London be the same rockets that send humans to the moon? These questions underscore the complex legacy of Operation Paperclip. As much as it may be remembered as a program that accelerated America's scientific progress, it also stands as a testament to the dark compromises made in the pursuit of this progress. The shadows of the swastika never quite left the hallowed halls of NASA, serving as a chilling reminder that the pathway to technological advancement can often be steeped in moral ambiguity. Number 2. The Rape of Nanking. The Rape of Nanking, also known as the Nanking Massacre, is a particularly gruesome chapter in the annals of World War II history. For 6 weeks, beginning in December 1937, the Imperial Japanese Army embarked on a campaign of unprecedented brutality against the Chinese city of Nanking, now Nanjing. An estimated 200,000 to 300,000 civilians and disarmed soldiers were killed, and tens of thousands of women were subjected to horrific sexual violence. Japanese soldiers, emboldened by a dehumanizing ideology that viewed the Chinese as subhuman, embarked on an orgy of violence that defied all conventions of warfare. Civilians were not only casualties of war, but specific targets, and their suffering was often made a public spectacle. The massacre is not just marked by the scale of the violence, but by the extent to which it was suppressed and denied in post-war Japan. Textbooks were sanitized, witnesses silenced, and a systematic effort made to rewrite this dark chapter of history. This state of denial has been a source of diplomatic tension between Japan and China to this day. The Rape of Nanking is a chilling reminder of the capacity of war to strip away the veneer of civilization and expose the monstrous side of humanity. The atrocities committed went beyond military strategy, revealing a disturbing appetite for brutality that transcends the norms of human behavior. It stands as a testament to the depths to which humanity can sink in the throes of conflict. Number 3. The Secret City of Los Alamos. Nestled amidst the mountains of New Mexico, the quiet town of Los Alamos holds secrets that altered the course of World War II. Unmarked on most maps until the 1940s, this town was the birthplace of the world's most destructive weapon, the atomic bomb. Under the cloak of absolute secrecy, the United States launched the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos. The town, only accessible via a single guarded road, was converted into a full-fledged city, complete with schools, theaters, and labs. Despite the semblance of normalcy, Its sole purpose was to build a weapon of unprecedented destructive power. World-class scientists, including Robert Oppenheimer, Richard Feynman, and Enrico Fermi gathered here, living double lives as suburban neighbors by day and nuclear physicists by night. Their work, fraught with scientific challenges and moral dilemmas, led to the development of two types of atomic bombs: Little Boy, a uranium bomb, and Fat Man, a plutonium bomb. The impact of their work became horrifically evident in August 1945, when these bombs decimated Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing hundreds of thousands of people and effectively ending World War II. The scale of the devastation forever changed the nature of warfare and signaled the beginning of the atomic age. Los Alamos stands as a symbol of the paradoxes of scientific progress. The same minds that unraveled the mysteries of the universe also unlocked the destructive potential hidden within the heart of an atom. As such, it's a stark reminder of the dual-edged nature of knowledge and the ethical quandaries that accompany scientific advancement. Number 4. Japanese Unit 731. In the shadows of World War II, one of the most horrific atrocities was committed not on the battlefield, but within the cold walls of a clandestine research facility. This was Unit 731, a covert biological and chemical warfare research unit of the Imperial Japanese Army. Located in Harbin, China, Unit 731 conducted brutal experiments on thousands of human subjects under the guise of epidemiological research. Prisoners of war, as well as Chinese and Russian civilians, were subjected to vivisections without anesthesia, were infected with lethal pathogens, subjected to extremes of temperature, and used in impact and weapons tests. All in the name of understanding the human body's limits and developing efficient biological weapons. The chilling operations of Unit 731 remained largely unknown to the outside world until after the war, when the extent of the atrocities began to emerge. Adding to the disturbing narrative, many of the scientists involved in the unit were granted immunity by the United States in exchange for the data they had collected. The intersection of warfare, science, and morality displayed at Unit 731 underscores the shocking lengths humanity can go in the name of advancement and the moral lines that can be blurred when power and knowledge intertwine. Number 5. The British Blackout Murders. World War II was marked by darkness, both metaphorically and literally, especially in the case of the British Blackout murders. The enforced blackouts, designed to obscure the cityscape from German bombers, inadvertently created a sinister hunting ground for a different kind of predator: murderers. One of the most notorious was Gordon Cummins, known as the Blackout Ripper. In a 6-day spree in February 1942, Cummins murdered 4 women, using the cover of darkness and the general disarray of the wartime city to evade detection. His gruesome exploits exploited the fear and chaos of wartime London, rendering the home front as dangerous as the front line for some civilians. However, the murders also galvanized communities and law enforcement agencies. Despite the difficulties posed by the blackout conditions, Cummins was apprehended due to meticulous detective work. His capture and subsequent punishment served as a rallying point, bolstering civilian morale in the face of both foreign and domestic threats. The British Blackout murders serve as a chilling reminder that even amidst the greater theater of war, personal narratives of fear, resilience, and justice continue to unfold. Number 6. Operation Barbarossa's Hidden Agenda. On June 22, 1941, Adolf Hitler unleashed Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union. While its declared objective was to seize the vast territory and resources of the Soviet Union, it concealed a darker agenda: the systematic extermination of the Jewish population under the guise of anti-partisan warfare. In the aftermath of the invasion, units known as Einsatzgruppen, which loosely translates to task forces, were deployed behind the front lines. Officially, their purpose was to quell any potential partisan resistance. Unofficially, they were assigned to execute the final solution: the Nazi plan for the genocide of Jews. Millions were killed in mass shootings, marking the beginning of the Holocaust. The intertwining of military strategy with genocide during Operation Barbarossa was a chilling demonstration of how state machinery can be mobilized for mass murder. It also highlighted how easily such intentions can be hidden behind the facade of conventional warfare, contributing to the delayed global response to the Holocaust. Number 7. The Ghost Army of the U.S. military. As World War II raged on, deception became a powerful weapon. The United States, in a creative application of this principle, formed the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, also known as the Ghost Army.
They were masters of deception during World War II. The Ghost Army carried out the dangerous and unique mission of deceiving the enemy.
Its soldiers were not primarily trained for combat, but for creating illusions, making the Allied forces appear larger and more formidable than they actually were. Comprising artists, actors, and engineers, the Ghost Army used inflatable tanks, sound trucks, fake radio transmissions, and play acting to fool German forces into believing they were facing large-scale deployments. They staged more than 20 deceptive operations across Europe, diverting enemy forces and saving countless lives. The Ghost Army's operations were classified for over 40 years, their contributions to the war effort largely unknown until the 1990s. Their story is a testament to the power of creativity and innovation in warfare. It is a unique chapter in World War II, illustrating that not all battles are won by firepower. Some are won by the power of illusion and misdirection. Number 8. The Destruction of Warsaw. Warsaw, the vibrant capital of Poland, bore the brutal brunt of Nazi aggression during World War II. But beyond the physical annihilation that the city underwent, there lay a more insidious intention: the obliteration of Polish culture, heritage, and national identity. After the failed Warsaw Uprising in 1944, Hitler ordered the complete destruction of the city as a reprisal. Buildings were systematically blown up or set ablaze. Priceless art and historical documents were either stolen or destroyed, and civilians were massacred or sent to concentration camps. By the time the Soviet forces arrived in January 1945, 85% of the city was in ruins, and only about 1,000 people were left amidst the wreckage. The destruction of Warsaw was not just about punishing a rebellious city, it was a calculated attempt to erase a nation's historical memory. The Nazis wanted to make a potent example of Warsaw, demonstrating the fatal consequences of resistance and the extent of their destructive power. The city's post-war rebuilding was an act of resilience. Even as buildings were recreated and lives were rebuilt, the scars remained, a grim reminder of the cultural genocide that accompanied the physical devastation during World War II. Number 9. The Forced Suicide of Okinawa. The Battle of Okinawa, one of the last major battles of World War II, is infamous not just for the immense loss of military life, but also for the chilling phenomenon of mass civilian suicides. Under the influence of Imperial Japanese propaganda, thousands of Okinawan civilians, including women and children, took their own lives to avoid capture by the invading American forces. Japanese propaganda had painted a terrifying picture of the Americans, leading many Okinawans to believe that capture would be a fate worse than death. This led to horrifying scenes of parents killing their own children and then themselves, often using hand grenades given to them by the Japanese military. The mass suicides of Okinawa serve as a tragic testament to the power of propaganda and the depths of fear. It underscores the often overlooked psychological warfare that accompanies physical conflict and illuminates a darker side of patriotism and honor, manipulated by the machinery of war to achieve tragic ends. Number 10. Hitler's secret drug addiction. The persona of Adolf Hitler as presented to the world was one of unwavering strength and ironclad willpower. Behind closed doors, however, Hitler was grappling with a secret addiction that not only affected his health, but potentially influenced his decision-making during the war. Under the care of Dr. Theodor Morell, Hitler was regularly injected with a cocktail of drugs, including methamphetamines, barbiturates, morphine, and even bull's semen. These substances were administered under the guise of treating a range of health issues, including stomach problems and Parkinson's-like symptoms. The truth, however, was that Hitler had developed a crippling dependence on these drugs. Over time, the drug abuse began to take a toll on Hitler's health and mental state. His erratic behavior, mood swings, and paranoid delusions can, in part, be attributed to his drug use. Some historians argue that Hitler's strategic blunders, particularly later in the war, were influenced by his compromised state of mind due to the drug addiction. Hitler's secret drug addiction sheds light on the potential influence of personal health issues on historical events.
He just could not believe that Germany was being completely defeated.
It also underscores the irony of a leader who espoused Aryan physical superiority while succumbing to substance abuse, pointing to the human frailties hidden beneath the facade of a dictator. Number 11. The Nazi Gold Train Mystery. As World War II neared its end, tales emerged of a Nazi train laden with gold and treasures disappearing into the labyrinthine tunnels of Lower Silesia in Poland. The train, if it indeed existed, is believed to have been a desperate attempt by the retreating Nazis to hide looted wealth from the advancing Allied forces. Despite extensive searches and explorations, no concrete evidence of the train's existence has been found. Yet, the legend endures, fueled by periodic claims of discovery, tantalizing clues, and the vast network of unexplored tunnels in the region built by the Nazis. The tale of the Nazi gold train is more than a treasure hunt. It's a grim reminder of the massive scale of looting perpetrated by the Nazis across Europe. Billions of dollars worth of art, gold, and other valuables were systematically stolen, much of which has never been recovered. Whether or not the train exists, the mystery serves as a symbol of the lost wealth and cultural heritage resulting from the war, aspects of which continue to be traced and reclaimed to this day. Number 12. The Holocaust's lost millions. While the horror of the 6 million Jews exterminated during the Holocaust is widely acknowledged, there remains a less recognized tragedy: the lost millions. These were the millions of Romani people, disabled individuals, homosexuals, Slavs, political dissidents, and other undesirables, who were also victims of the Nazi genocide, but whose stories are often overlooked in the broader narrative of the Holocaust. The Romani people in particular suffered immense losses, with estimates of up to 500,000 killed. Their persecution, known as the porajmos, or the devouring, is a stark example of the Nazis' racial hygiene policies. The disabled, too, were targeted under the Action T4 program, a systematic campaign of forced euthanasia that killed at least 70,000 individuals deemed life unworthy of life. The Holocaust's lost millions bring to light the wide-ranging net of Nazi persecution, revealing a genocide that extended beyond anti-Semitism to encompass a broader, twisted ideal of racial and ideological purity. It underscores the need to remember all victims of the Holocaust, not just the largest group, as we reflect on the immense human cost of hate, intolerance, and bigotry. Number 13. Soviet war crimes, the Katyn Massacre. The Katyn Massacre stands as one of the most egregious war crimes committed by the Soviet Union during World War II. In April and May of 1940, approximately 22,000 Polish officers, intellectuals, and other public servants were systematically executed in the Katyn forest near Smolensk, Russia. The massacre was part of a broader Soviet strategy to quell potential resistance by eliminating Poland's leadership class. The victims were rounded up, transported to execution sites, and shot in the back of the head, their bodies dumped into mass graves. The atrocity was covered up by the Soviet government for decades, with the blame falsely attributed to the Nazis. It was not until 1990, after the fall of the Soviet Union, that Russia acknowledged and apologized for the massacre. The Katyn Massacre is a stark example of the brutalities inflicted by the Soviets during the war, often overshadowed by the focus on Nazi war crimes. It serves as a reminder of the widespread nature of wartime atrocities and the capacity for states to commit and conceal such acts, reinforcing the necessity of vigilance, truth-seeking, and justice in the aftermath of conflict. Number 14. The Secret Holocaust Diaries. The Holocaust, one of the darkest periods of human history, has been meticulously recorded through the lens of historians, soldiers, and statesmen. However, it is through the hidden and secret diaries of its victims that we get the most poignant and personal view of this horrific genocide. These diaries, often hastily scribbled and concealed in unthinkable places, offer a window into the daily life, fears, and hopes of those living through the nightmare of the Holocaust. They are not merely accounts of horrors, but are testament to the human spirit that strived for survival, solace, and sanity in the face of unparalleled atrocity. One of the most renowned of these is the Diary of Anne Frank, but she was not the only one who kept such a record. Thousands of diaries were written by both adults and children, each with its own unique narrative. In the Lodz ghetto, Dawid Sierakowicz, a teenager, meticulously recorded his experiences. His entries give insight into the physical and psychological strain experienced by those in the ghettos, highlighting the increasing food shortages, forced labor, and ever-present fear of deportations. In the heart of Auschwitz, one of the deadliest extermination camps, a group of Sonderkommandos, prisoners assigned to dispose of gas chamber victims, managed to pen the chilling scrolls of Auschwitz. Buried within the camp, these documents provide a first-hand account of the systematic murder carried out in the camp, bearing witness to the industrial scale of the Nazi extermination plan. Women, too, like Ruthka Lieblich and Renia Spiegel, documented their experiences. Their diaries illuminate the specific challenges faced by women during the Holocaust, from sexual violence to the agony of families torn apart. They also display moments of resilience, solidarity, and even fleeting joy amid the darkness. On the Eastern Front, in the trenches and towns under siege, soldiers and civilians wrote about the unimaginable violence and moral decay they witnessed. Diaries from the siege of Leningrad reveal the extreme conditions endured by the city's inhabitants, where survival often meant making unthinkable choices. These secret Holocaust diaries serve as personal chronicles of terror, resilience, and sometimes, tragically, despair. Beyond their historical value, they are profound human documents, underscoring the endurance of the human spirit amidst atrocity. They are stark reminders of the individual lives that made up the 6 million lost, each life a unique story of courage, fear, love, and loss. Yet they also raise challenging ethical questions. Is it right to read these deeply personal, often traumatic accounts, which were often intended to remain private? Does their historical and educational value outweigh this invasion of privacy? The secret diaries of the Holocaust are more than historical documents. They are the voices of the victims, reaching out across the decades. Through them, we are reminded of the personal, human experience of history, the individuals behind the statistics, and the lives that were lived and lost during the Holocaust. They serve as a powerful call to remember and to learn from the past, to ensure that such atrocities never happen again. Number 15. Churchill's hidden illness and its effect on the war. Winston Churchill, the iconic British Prime Minister who led Britain through the dark days of World War II, is often depicted as a figure of unwavering strength and resolve. What is less known, however, is that he battled a significant health issue throughout the war, an illness that, while largely kept hidden from the public, had a substantial impact on the war effort and the course of history. In the early 1940s, Churchill was diagnosed with coronary heart disease, a condition that even today requires careful management and can drastically impact a person's health and energy levels. Throughout the war, he experienced several heart attacks and strokes, episodes that were carefully concealed from the public and downplayed to those within his inner circle. His personal physician, Lord Moran, often had to balance the demands of keeping Churchill functioning with the risks of his strenuous lifestyle and relentless work schedule. The effects of Churchill's hidden illness were significant, not only on his personal life but also on his leadership and decision-making during the war. In times of acute illness, his judgment was clouded, and his usually sharp wit and mental agility dulled. Some of his most controversial decisions, such as the bombing of Dresden, came during periods of illness, leading some historians to question whether his health issues played a part in these instances. Yet, despite his fragile health, Churchill's relentless dedication to leading Britain to victory remained unwavered. Often against doctors' orders, he continued to push himself to his limits, delivering rousing speeches and maintaining a punishing schedule of travel and diplomatic engagement. His energy and determination, maintained despite his illness, was a significant factor in maintaining British morale and ensuring the country's resistance against Nazi Germany. However, the secrecy surrounding Churchill's health had its consequences. His frequent bouts of exhaustion or the flu Cover stories for his heart issues raised questions about his fitness for office and led to periods of political instability. Furthermore, his reliance on a cocktail of medication to keep him functioning added to the strain on his health. The revelation of Churchill's hidden illness provides a nuanced understanding of his leadership during the war. It speaks to his extraordinary resilience and determination, as well as the heavy personal cost of his role. It also illuminates the human side of historical figures, reminding us that they, like us, grappled with personal challenges even while shaping the course of world events. Churchill's hidden illness and its impact on World War II remind us that history is shaped not just by large-scale events and strategies, but also by individual human experiences. The personal health of leaders can subtly yet significantly influence the decisions that shape the course of a war, and thus the course of history. It underscores the complexity of history, the intertwining of the personal and the political, and the impact of the individual on the grand tapestry of historical events.